Thanks everybody for joining the ambassador program and learning about what it takes to be an ambassador. So many different ways of doing that. Again, just a quick housekeeping reminder, we are recording this breakout session so we can watch this at a later time. And if you have questions, please go ahead and start filling them into the chat box. And if we have time, we can get to that. But we have three great examples of ambassadors in our community. The first one that we're going to talk to is Karen Hester with Southern Churn. And one example just into itself, Karen is actually at the beach right now. And she said that she would not miss it for the world to be on this and to be able to talk about Bristol. So thanks for being here, Karen.
You're welcome, Christopher. It's a sheer pleasure, I can tell you that.
Well, thank you again. I really appreciate your time. Talk to us a little bit about just being an ambassador. I've had several conversations with you about how important visitors play for your businesses, especially in downtown Bristol, that the community does a great job of supporting you, but you really have to rely on those visitors to sustain your business model.
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, thanks for allowing me this opportunity. I did squeeze out a little bit of time here in Hilton Head to join you guys. But what an honor to be on a panel with, Jeff and all he does through the welcome centers and the folks he sends to us, and my esteemed fellow colleagues there, my downtown business entrepreneurs, the lifeblood of what keeps Bristol going. And I've said it a million times, we have a great support from the local community. We've been in business for 21 years at Cranberry Lane, and we've been in business for 6 years at the ice cream and candy side, the Southern Churn. But I can promise you this, that visitors are the lifeblood of our business downtown. And we saw it during COVID. We saw it come to a screeching halt. Unlike where Joe was able to stay open because he was considered essential, we had to totally close our doors for 2 months. And, what a heartbreaking thing to have to furlough employees and do that. I've never had to lay anybody off in my 21 years of owning a business downtown. And, but I can tell you, after things got back and rallied around, we had a huge outpouring of customers to come in and support us, like Joe and the other guys. But one of the really cool things is, as things started opening back up, we saw those travelers come in. They were wearing their mask and doing things that they could do to come and support our area. The beauty of what I get to do as having the retail stores downtown, another segment and a big segment of my business is I welcome guests to our area through Airbnb units and VRBO units, and I currently have 10. And it was so popular that I bought 5 additional properties during COVID to be able to house the people that were trying to come to our area. You saw people leaving New York and Chicago and the cities wanting to come to the rural areas to be able to get their kids out of the areas that were so hit and affected by COVID. And, when they do that and they come, we had the race, which was phenomenal. It brought tourism to our area. 30,000 people came. It wasn't like the 100 that normally comes, but those 30,000 people were buying fudge and shopping and buying souvenirs and eating at the restaurants downtown and drinking Ken's beer, so those kinds of things like that really is what makes it happen. And, we all do our part to cultivate that. And I tell my staff every day we roll out the red carpet, because we want those folks, when they come and bring their disposable money and spend it in our stores and our restaurants and buy gas and stay in our hotels, we want them to come not only that one time, but to put it on their calendar to come all the time. One example is we have customers that will get in their car from Maryland and drive down to Cranberry Lane to come and shop. And it's simply because they've discovered our store, but they probably pass 100 types of stores like Cranberry Lane on their way down here to come and shop at our store. It's examples like that and testaments like that that makes this whole beautiful piece of tourism for all of our stores work so great. You know, we've had people that have been driving down I-81 and just happen to pull off to get gas, and they discover downtown, and now we are a destination every time they're traveling down the highway going to Gatlinburg or to Nashville or to Florida on vacation. They're making it a point to stop by Bristol every time they're coming through. So those kinds of things are money that makes our cash registers ring. That's the key to this whole thing that makes tourism so beautiful. You know, we can always cater to our regular customers, but it's those beautiful tourism people that come and shop our stores that we really want to cultivate. And one quick thing I'll add too is, you know, as far as the VRBO and Airbnb element of it, you know, I've taken the opportunity to include a very extensive book in the lofts or the condos when they come in that has menus to all of the restaurants downtown, to all of the breweries downtown. So I make it a point whenever they come, I want them shopping at our local guys. You can find chains everywhere. You can't find burger bars everywhere. So what I do is I want them to support, you know, our guys that make the fabric of our downtown so unique and beautiful. That's the people that we want them to support while they're here.
That's great. You've touched on so many pieces there, and it's wonderful to hear how you're an ambassador. You're even telling me things that I wasn't even aware of on what you're doing, and it continues to show truly how great of an ambassador you are for our entire community. So thank you for that. Speaking to ambassadors in a different capacity, we have Christy Halsey with the Tri-Cities Regional Airport. And she's an ambassador on a different level. I'm trying to pull in visitors from outer markets to come here, and she's telling our story not only to customers, air travelers, but also to airline carriers, and trying to include additional flight routes back into our community. So Christy, do you want to talk about that just a little bit?
Sure. As far as the inbound marketing, they're what we call reverse marketing, because most of the time the airport is trying to get folks who live here locally to fly tri and to use our airport and spend their dollars here locally instead of going outside of our market to fly. So what we have recently started doing is actually reverse marketing in communities where we have nonstop flights. So specifically the two we're targeting right now are Dallas and Orlando. And so we have campaigns out in those two markets. They will start soon. They're not started just yet, but we'll be marketing to get people to come to our region. Of course, airports are a little bit different. We have a lot of federal regulations that we have to abide by. And one of those is that we cannot actually market specific communities. So like we could not say fly to Dallas unless it's a brand new service. So there are some stipulations that go around that. But we are currently in those markets trying to get people to come here. And our campaign is very focused on the outdoor activities, things that there are to do here in our wonderful region. And then, of course, fly to Tri-Cities to be able to get there. And then once they are here, we have staff. We are staffed Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, for folks that have questions about our region. We make sure that our staff member down there actually is from Bristol. So she knows very well what's happening in Bristol. And then brochure rack, you know, for people. And our brochures are actually starting to go very quickly. So we are happy to see that. And it's a free rack for our local DMOs in the States as well. And then on the airline side of it, when we go to the airlines to try to recruit additional service here at the airport, it's very important for us to know tourism information and to be able to share that with the airlines, that not only do we have people in our market trying to get to a destination, but we have people in those destinations who are wanting to come to our region. Another thing that we do is if we know of an event or activity conference that requires, needs more flights to get here or more seats on an aircraft, the races, Rhythm and Roots, there may be a certain conference that has a lot of people coming in, sporting events, things like that. When we know, we will actually work with the airlines to bring in either additional flights or bigger aircraft to be able to bring in more people to the region.
Great information to know. We're going to bounce around a little bit. Just knowing we got a ticking timer on here, and to get everybody involved, we'll probably come back around the horn again, but want to loop in Logan McCabe as well from Bristol Motor Speedway. And he's certainly an ambassador for the community in that role into itself, and he can speak to that. But you know, sometimes a lot of people think, well, I don't have a business, I'm not really front facing in the community. How can I be an ambassador for our city? And one of the neat things that Logan does, I don't know if you follow him on social media, but he has his morning run, and he'll go out and he'll run along places and he'll take photos. He'll stop and take photos of interesting places or things of that nature. And it can be something so simple as that, that we can go around and just check out places or just remember where we are and take photos to share it to our following, which will be amplified. But Logan, talk a little bit about what you've been doing just on a personal level, and if there's anything you want to touch on from the Speedway side as well.
Sure. First, I'll say thanks, Chris. I know you've got a time limit, so I'll try not to ramble like I usually do. And the second thing before I get on task is I love, Karen, on this, not bio, but the agenda, your title, Community Champion. And I feel like that's what you do. You know, being a community ambassador and champion, I think every one of us that have been on this call for almost 2 hours can see why it's important. Being an ambassador is really important. Quite frankly, that's not how it started for me. It started for me of just, you know, you go and you take a picture sometime, and sometimes you put it on social media. And that evolved into, well, I'm not very interesting, but our community is. So why don't I take some attractions? Why don't I take a picture of a restaurant or a shop, or lay down in the middle of State Street early in the morning, right next to the Virginia-Tennessee double line and that little plaque. And it evolved. I'll come up to people that are strangers out there, and they'll say, hey, you know, I really like that morning run. I like here. I got people that know the names of my dogs, which are Dumb and Dumber. And it's real. It's real to me, but it's evolved a little bit to think, okay, can I do something to help the community a little bit more? And it's a passion of mine, so it's genuine and it's authentic. And it's just one way. I think we're all, there's another breakout now where folks are talking about social media. Quite frankly, being an ambassador as an individual is like social media the way it used to be. It's word of mouth, and it's this community is better if we have visitors. My wife is a real estate agent, and when people visit, they love this community, and then they'll try to buy. Now it's hard to buy a house now. So, Chris, I don't know if that answers it. I know a lot of you, and I appreciate you guys asking me to say a couple words today.
Yeah, no, that was great. And we'll go round robin again with the three of you, and I'll ask the same question. We can go in the same order, but Karen, why is it so important to be an ambassador for Bristol?
You know, I guess one of the things that's so important to me is I want to share the beauty of what we have to offer. I always tell folks when they come to town and they're visiting, and, you know, sometimes people are coming just shopping and looking around before they reach out to some of the realtors. And, you know, I want them to experience, you know, the beautiful 4 seasons that we have to offer, the fantastic outdoor activities that are at our fingertips, you know, the lower cost of living, the laid back lifestyle, you know, so many things that we have to offer. To me, it's important when somebody's coming to the area to make that decision. You know, if they're looking at the Tri-Cities, you can believe I'm waving that Bristol banner all day long, getting them maybe not to go to Johnson City, but to have what we have to offer here, you know. Or if they're looking at the Tri-Cities and the whole, you know, come here instead of moving to Knoxville. My goodness, we have so much to offer in our area. And to me, that's critically important because that's what makes everything work. That puts all the puzzle pieces together. So, you know, I fell in love with the area when I came here. I guess it's been, wow. I worked at King Pharmaceuticals for 16 years and fell in love with the area, bought property downtown, built the businesses, and, you know, kind of the rest is history. When Pfizer came to buy out our company, my position and my offer was to go to either New York City or Washington, D.C. And thank God I had already put my roots down in Bristol and didn't bat an eye at turning those opportunities down to stay here to continue to cultivate what I had already started here in Bristol. So, you know, there was no looking back for me. You know, I grew up in Marion, Virginia, which was a small town still in Southwest Virginia, but, you know, absolutely fell in love with Bristol. And, you know, I consider born and bred Bristolian now. So.
Great, Karen. Christy, is there anything you want to add on just the importance of being an ambassador?
Well, I'm probably not the best candidate for that, since as the airport, we certainly serve our whole entire region.
But on a personal level.
But on a personal level,
ambassador on everything.
I also live near Bristol. So Bristol is very much a unique community. I grew up in Kingsport. My husband grew up in Johnson City. We actually live in Bristol. So we enjoy all three, but definitely have some very unique and wonderful aspects to Bristol that we enjoy sharing with people. And where we live, we get to hear what's happening at the racetrack and know when they're in caution. So it's fun, and we enjoy sharing those opportunities that we have in our community with others.
Logan?
I love Bristol. Lived in Johnson City a lot of years, and it's great, but I love Bristol. We're actually, yesterday and today, we're moving from our home where we are now in Bristol, where I am now, to another Bristol home. So that tells you how much I like it. It's just the right thing. It's one form of paying it forward. And I really believe in paying it forward. And we've got a great thing here. And why not share it with others?
Yeah, and just looking at everybody that's in this breakout session, one of the great and just wonderful things that everyone's talked about, that our community aspect, that we all want to help each other. And that's part of being an ambassador. When folks are coming into town, like Karen said, if they're showing up to Cranberry Lane or Southern Churn, she's giving them pointers on other places to, hey, have you checked out the Burger Bar? See Joe there, or Bristol Station Brews and Tap Room. That we want to connect that experience. And that's part of being an ambassador, is making the visitors experience as best as possible, putting our best foot forward out for the entire community. And we continue to see so many examples of groups wanting to work together, that we're not really looking out for ourselves only. Even in times of trouble or just downward trends like we've seen this past year, I feel like I've seen even more partnerships, more collaboration, more opportunities for people that are looking out for others, even when they're not in a necessarily a great situation, that they want to make sure that their friends, their business brothers that are downtown, sisters, they're being able to stay sustainable. That's just one of the wonderful things here that we have, not only on a business level, but in a personal level, that everyone's very proud to be where we're from. We shout that from the rooftops, or anytime we go somewhere, talk up Bristol, because we're proud of where we live. But we also make sure that people are having a great experience here. So thank you all for being wonderful ambassadors. We're about to move back over into the main room, so thank you for your time.